You've researched drop shipping, content creation, consulting, real estate, affiliate marketing, and at least 4 other things. You know a little about all of them. You've started on none of them. That's not a lack of commitment. That's a very specific psychological trap called shiny object syndrome. And it's powered by something your brain does with every major decision that almost nobody explains clearly. Today, we're getting into the entrepreneur psychology of focus, why picking one path feels impossible, what's actually happening in your brain when you jump from idea to idea, and how to break that loop. It's always better to understand than to be understood. Let's get into it. Time is money, but this is why your brain keeps switching. Every time you commit to a path, your brain runs a calculation. And the calculation isn't just, is this a good idea? The calculation is, what am I giving up by choosing this? That's called loss aversion. And psychologically, the pain of losing an option feels roughly twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something, which means choosing one business model doesn't just feel like choosing that model, it feels like forfeiting every other model. And that forfeiture registers as a loss, and losses hurt. So, your brain does what it always does to avoid pain. It defers the decision. It tells you that you just need a little more research before you can commit. It finds a new option that temporarily feels like the pain-free version, the one where you don't have to give anything up because you haven't committed yet. That's the shiny object. It's not actually shinier. It just doesn't have the weight of commitment attached to it yet. The moment you commit to it, it will feel the same as the last one did. Now, the thing that looks like research, but isn't. Here's the part of decision fatigue that nobody really names clearly. When you're cycling through business models without committing to any of them, you are not doing research. You are doing something that feels like research. Real research has a defined question and produces a decision. What you're doing is collecting information without a framework for what the information is supposed to tell you. So, more information doesn't help. It just adds more weight to an already overloaded decision. You see, the cognitive overload you're feeling isn't because you haven't found the right idea yet. It's because you haven't defined the right criteria yet. You don't have a filter. So everything that comes through looks like a possibility and nothing gets chosen. The actual framework for choosing. Here's the question that cuts through all of this BS. Not which business model makes the most money. Not which one is growing faster. Those are the wrong questions because they're external. They're asking the market to choose for you. The right question is, which of these can I stay in long enough to get good at? Not forever, not for life, long enough to move past the point where it's hard, because every business model is hard in the beginning. The one that wins is not the easiest one. It's the one you stayed in long enough to figure out. Secondary question you should ask, which of these is the closest to something you already know, already do, or already have access to? The shortest path to your first result is the one that starts closest to where you already are. Pick the one that survives both of those questions. Then stop researching the others. Not forever, just until you've given this one a real attempt. You cannot drive forward while looking in 5 different directions at once. One direction, one move. The entrepreneur psychology of focus is not about willpower. It's not about discipline. It's about understanding why your brain keeps generating new options. Because loss aversion makes every commitment feel like a loss. And then making the decision anyway with a clear enough framework that the decision sticks. You don't need the perfect idea. You need a good enough idea and enough runway to actually test it. The data you get from one real attempt is worth more than a year of research on 10 options. Drop a comment. Tell me, what's the one idea you keep coming back to, no matter what else you look at? That's probably your answer. I read every single comment. So, subscribe, because this channel is built on the entrepreneur who wants to understand the psychology underneath the business. And that's really the first place to start. And that's where success lies, is understanding, not just the tactics on top of it. And always remember, it's always better to understand than to be understood.